Oh my God, this one is a winner. Okay, the old coot here coming back at you with another exciting video. I'm surprised this doesn't get as much popularity as it should, like as it rightfully should. So this is Antica Torino is the name of the company. Amaro Della Sacra is the actual Amaro that we're looking at here. 750 milliliters. It's a liqueur, 35% alcohol by volume. There is a decent amount of sugar in here. I would say like it is so well balanced between sugar and the bitterness of the Amaro that it's almost like 50-50. It is just so smooth in terms of sweet to bitter ratio. Not overly sweet, not overly bitter. It's just a perfect balance between the two. Let's look at the backside of water here so you can see what's going on. There's their label. You can kind of take your screenshots, do all that kind of stuff. So now here's an interesting part is it says macerating in alcohol, right? And then in that there's herbs, right? Spices, roots, barks, resins, seeds, and flowers. I almost want to say like when I opened this bottle, the scent, the beautiful scent that I was getting was almost like the alcohol came from a brandy type process, right? Where you're taking grapes, you're macerating them, you're making alcohol, wine, and then from that you're distilling that and then getting a brandy out of it, like a concentrated brandy. And that's kind of like the vibe. I don't know if that's exactly what they do, but that's how it kind of smelled to me in the most pleasant, beautiful way possible. I mean, I cannot stress this part enough. By the way, I'm not sponsored by them or by this company here, imported by Skurnik Wines out of New York. But if they want to reach out to me, hey, I would love to talk to you about some kind of partnership opportunity here because honestly, in my opinion, like wowzers, this is definitely one of my top 5 best in class, meaning like repeatable, enjoyable, pleasurable experiences with Amari, right? Something that I would buy on a regular basis, sip it at least once a week, if not daily. Special occasion. Like if I was going to somebody's house for dinner and they had never had Amaro before, honestly, like the Aperol and the Campari are great, but I would bring a bottle of this just to kind of show off a little bit. And people would wonder how expensive this was, and it's really not expensive. I think I paid somewhere in the ballpark of like $32 to $35 for the bottle. Usually my go-to is Total Wine or Mission Wine and Spirits here in Southern California. But this was a harder one to find. I had to go to like a specialty store to find it. And I was just blown away at how much the price matched the Amaro, but yet I felt like I should have been paying a little more. That's why I'm not going to mention their name because they should be charging more for this. But I would say 32 to 35 bucks is around the right price range for this. So let's get into it. So usually it's my habit of I pour about a half an ounce into a glass, and then what I'll do is I'll pour a little bit of club soda or mineral water in there to kind of take the alcohol bite off so that I can actually smell it better, taste it better, kind of distinguishably isolate some of these flavors that are going on. On the nose, let me refresh my memory. Oh, that's heaven. Okay, so like literally now I can see why it's Della Sacra. Okay, on the nose, it's not so like a lot of other, by comparison, a lot of other Amaro that are out there, there's a very distinguishable nose. Like I could say, okay, Chinar is cola, right? Or artichoke. I could say that Maletti is like a rhubarb. But this one is kind of like a stone fruit. And it's not overpowering. It's kind of like, I use this analogy sometimes. Take a peach, take a plum, cut them in half, put them on a barbecue, low flame, drizzle some honey and some brown sugar on, and just let them slowly caramelize and develop that rich kind of broad spectrum of flavors that are going on where the caramelization kind of boosts, the flavors that are in there. And that's kind of what I'm getting out of this. Very stone fruit on the nose. On the taste buds, what I'm getting is, let me taste it fresh. Wow. So a little bit sweeter to bitter, like in a percentage of 100. I would say it's still well balanced. It's still pretty balanced between sweet and the bitter Amaro. But I would say maybe it's like a 60-40. Like just a touch sweeter than bitter, but pretty close, 55-45. It's kind of like in that range. Okay, flavors. What am I getting here? So I know that Antica Torino makes a vermouth, a very popular vermouth. Actually, I think they make 2 of them, at least as far as I know. And in that process of making the vermouth, I think there's, maceration of grapes, and you kind of get the idea. And what I'm getting is like notes, like little wafts, little notes of like brandy in there. And I'm kind of curious. I don't know this for a fact, but I'm kind of curious if that alcohol that's in there that they do their process is coming from or a byproduct of that vermouth making process. I'm kind of curious, but yeah, there's definitely like notes of like the brandy going on. But in a percentage of 100, which is what everybody wants to know, what does this taste like? I would say, respectively, it's between 70 to 60, like 60 to 70% stone fruit, caramelized, honey, brown sugar kind of vibeness going on there. So there's like plum, and there's peach, and there's almost like cherry, and like it's just so good. It's like, it's so hard to describe, but I would say in a percentage of 100, I would say you're getting maybe like 60 to 70% of that. And then what's remaining is kind of like, it's so hard to isolate one thing or two things because it is so well balanced. Like this is not like tasting, like, I don't want to mention any names, but like there are some Amaro that are just alcohol forward, that's all you taste is like ethanol pretty much, and then like a little bit of artificial flavoring. This is the polar opposite of that. This is like more comparable to like Lazzaroni, or more comparable to like Amaro, Vecchio del Capo coming out of Calabria, that kind of vibe. It's like there's a spectrum of stuff going on, and there's a little bit of cola, maybe like 5%. There's a little bit of rhubarb, maybe like 5%. There's a little bit of cinnamon, warm baking spices, clove, definitely cinnamon, but like not overpowering, just kind of there to kind of like pleasantly, it adds to, right? Like, I work in the movie industry as a cameraman. Sometimes I do cinematography work, and it's always like, you light the entire stage, and then you start turning off lights to see what you need and what you don't need. Does it add to it? Keep it. If it doesn't add to it, take it away. This has that like 5% of so many different things that are going on. There's a little bit of rhubarb. There's a little bit of cola, right? Like that unsweetened root beer. But no one thing is overpowering the other thing. The primary frontal push here is the stone fruit. I would say that for sure. And then the underlying flavors that you're getting are like the warm baking spices, right? The cinnamon, the clove. Then you're getting like a little bit of that rhubarb action going on. Then you're getting a little bit of like that unsweetened cola action going on, where you're tasting like the roots and the barks and pretty much the stuff that's in there. When they said like resins and seeds, that's what you're kind of getting in there. The flowers, in terms of the floral, I would say less than 1% of this tastes floral. At least that's what I'm getting. I would say probably that would be the lowest percentage, would be like the flowers or any kind of floral taste. So it's not like Ramazzotti Rosato. Like, it's not like that, like Aperitivo Rosato. This is more akin to, I would say, like closer to like Maletti. If you've had Maletti before, Maletti's great. Maletti's also like in my top 5 of sippable ones. But I'm telling you, Antica Torino is giving this one a run for its money. It's like if this, like if I had, it's so hard. It's like choosing between kids and the boat sinking, and you have to pick one. But honestly, this is a great Amaro. But honestly, this one is a little more broader in spectrum, like there's a little more complexity going on with the Antica Torino. I would say as well, like if I had to go to a dinner party and these are people that I'm visiting that maybe have had Campari, or they've had, let's say, Aperol, and they're looking to expand their Amari vocabulary and they want to try something different. As a smooth finisher, as a dessert Amaro, I would definitely bring a bottle of this, just so that they can taste what they're missing, right? That kind of, maybe take the bottle back home too, just so that they'll miss me and they'll invite me to more dinner. No, just kidding. But you kind of get the idea. It's that well balanced and that good. So anyways, to quickly recap, on the nose, I would say it's about 70% that stone fruit that's been caramelized, like with honey and brown sugar. I would say on the taste, pretty much the same. You know, it's kind of got that like stone fruit that you cut in half, plum, peach, cut in half, drizzle some little bit of honey over it, a little bit of brown sugar, let it caramelize over a low barbecue kind of flame. Smokiness, not really there. Maybe like less than 1% of smokiness, but it's definitely got that like beautiful caramelization of stone fruits going on. That last, I would say, 40%. Like, it's so hard to put percentages on these because they're so well balanced. But that last like 40% or 50% or even 30% would be like a combination of maybe like 5% stone fruit, 5% roots and barks, maybe 5% of like the warm baking spices, so the clove, the cinnamon, the cardamom, that kind of a vibe. And I believe, don't get me wrong, but I believe in their vermouth, in this company's vermouth, I believe they use like 3 different types of wormwood. I'm not getting that like anise, absinthe kind of a vibe, that fennel kind of vibe, but it's in there. It's like it's there. Like you want to believe that it's there. It's like Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, when like Indiana has to cross over that big cavernous. He knows that if he steps out, he's gonna eventually, he's taking a leap of faith that he's gonna land on the bridge that's going to take him across the other side. It's kind of like that. Like, I want to believe that there's wormwood in there, but also as well, I think in that vermouth, there's like yarrow, there's hyssop, there's cinnamon in there. And I think you're getting like hints, notes, like 2%, 3% of those in here. So anyways, that's kind of the bulk of what you're getting in this Antica Torino Amaro Della Sacra. Like I said, not sponsored by this company in any way, shape, or form. I had to pay for this on my own. It was around $35 at like a specialty wine shop imported by Skrnick Wines. But like I said, if they want to reach out to me, I would definitely love to talk about some kind of partnership and maybe get some more of these videos going because I've already drank like this much of this bottle, just enjoying this as much as I can. I will continue to enjoy this probably the rest of this week, next week. But anyways, with that being said, check out some more videos coming soon about this. I'll try to shorten the videos. The first one's always a long one because I'm trying to just think out. It helps me to think out my thought process of what I want to say and all that kind of good stuff. But anyways, I will catch you on the next exciting Amaro review.